So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to this move is called something, and I have no idea for the names of these bodily maneuvers, but my abdomen is being begged to be sucked in, and not for any kind of aesthetic purposes, but for the sake of rearranging some things, or I don't know, stretching some things. I don't know exactly the purpose, but it's, there's something to it. I have not yet reached some level where I move, where that yogic maneuver where it's like the stomach is going here, here, here and stuff. But my stomach, my abdominal region definitely wants to be vacuumed in for some reason. And I do not doubt that it's for a benefit. So here we go. Oh, okay. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. My damn man, I am still surprised by the things that happened. So it was just like movement, 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 and then this part of my jaw popped. Like I'm used to this part popping, but then this part went like, and again, my metric, the compass, I guess you could say the measurement by which I decide whether or not I am hurting myself or doing something dysfunctional. I just go by the pain indicator. If I feel pain, and we all know what pain is. If I take my fingernail and dig into my, okay, now it's like, stop. What are you doing? That's pain. And I think we should all know what the fuck pain is. Pain. Sounds like the name of some fucking. Anyway, if it's painful, I'm not doing it. If it's truly painful, but the thing is that if it's just surprising and shocking and weird and just odd, then I am not going to persecute it. I'm not going to stray away from it. If it's just uncomfortable and again. And if the pop is just for a second, it's like, then fine. Then that passes the test for me. Then I am not going to assume that you are my enemy. I keep doing these things. I'm really feeling a lot of, wow, this is tight. It's the pull-ups and stuff, man. I went hard on pull-ups the other day. Like, I went bananas on pull-ups, and I think that I probably locked some stuff up. I had some tension going. Let me vacuum one more time. And I'm not trying to flex. I'm trying this tightening thing kind of helps me see what the deal is. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. I have not yet engaged in thoughtlessness. This is all, I think the body, I think when you open the door to a certain type of reception, internal reception, it seems like it doesn't go away. Because I never was this sensitive to where I'm just pulling stuff and just popping stuff. But now I am, and it's cool. Because it's not, one could then presume, and that's fine if you want to propose this, would you have the kind of bodily instability that you have were you to not be moving all around in the first place? Again, I say this because I've heard chiropractors speak about doing self chiropractic adjustments, so to speak, and causing unstable joints. And then you always want to do it. But the thing about that, my contention with saying don't self adjust is, listen, man, you go to a chiropractor because you get a great sense of relief. And then you have to repeatedly go to that chiropractor to get that relief and to get that alignment. What I'm doing, what others may do, I don't doubt that other people do it in a way that could harm them. But if I'm doing it at a singular level, and if I'm feeling relief, if I'm feeling aligned, then the only strike against it is just you telling me that no, I should be the one doing it. I'm the one going to do it properly. But why is it unlikely or improbable that you can do it yourself? I understand, and I will accept that a lot of people may not be doing it correctly to themselves or doing it in a way that will benefit them. Hold on, I need a. Here we go. I don't doubt that a lot of people will be doing it to their detriment. But to suggest that it's just impossible to do it in a way that will benefit you on your own, I find that hard to believe. I mean, just like a lot of people find it very hard to believe that the practice of chiropractic, the practice of the chiropractor in general is a fluke, is a fraud, is fraudulent. Now, I think a lot of the I think a lot of the claims by some chiropractors, not all, a lot of the claims of chiropractors is often a bit too fantastic. And that's what a lot of people's gripe is. A lot of chiropractors will suggest that, they could heal damn near everything about you. But on the other hand, this does feel very renewing. This does feel as if it heals you when you are popping and realigning. And so maybe it does do a lot, but a lot of people in the medical community and people in general have their beef with chiropractors, is my point. And I do think there is something to the chiropractic practice. But I also think, though, see, the medical professionals have a beef with the chiropractors, and the chiropractors have a beef with those who adjust on their own. They will say that you shouldn't do that, and that you should see a chiropractor. And I have a beef with that claim. I have a beef with the claim that there's nothing you can do on your own. I don't know about that, because what I'm doing wait, I need to do this. What I'm doing is nothing that I'm consciously trying to do. I'm not saying, oh, well, I saw this particular chiropractor do this, and I saw this other particular chiropractor do that. Let me mimic it. I'm not doing that. I'm merely following my body's instincts. And I think that a lot of them do acknowledge that the body has an intention, quote unquote, not a personified intention, not some conscious deliberation, but just this automatic kind of thing where it wants to get to a place of renewal, where it wants to be optimized again. It wants to stabilize. And so the question then becomes, the question is it possible that there's something wired into humans where if you allow it, it is a renewal process that mimics what a chiropractor might do. It mimics yoga. You know, I mean, is this where yoga even came from in the first place? My theory is that because I don't do a lot of them here, but when I first opened that mental door and engaged in thoughtlessness and had like this moment, these moments of just dramatic theatrical movement, they all resembled these yoga positions. And my curiosity is, I wonder if the witnesses of this, or the people who first experienced this, then assumed, or not even assumed, then taught these positions. But it's not about the positions necessarily. It's about doing the positions as a primer, as a warm up to the more intuitive form of healing. I wonder if those positions are a result of something, and doing those positions will help when you engage in the thoughtlessness and the breathing techniques, and when your body then wants to do it on its own, it will do it that much more easily. But the yoga positions in and of themselves are not necessarily the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal, I wonder, is to get acquainted with your specific unique needs, and it helps to be flexible enough to be able to satisfy those needs. And so a yoga is a good way of clearing the runway, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? This is my curiosity. This is my theory, and I wonder. Okay. It's time for thoughtlessness. I'm going to engage in thoughtlessness now, and it won't be pretty. Here's the thing about what just happened. I don't know how you can deny the reality of that. I'm sweating all of a sudden on this area. I wasn't sweating this much. That yell, it goes back to my theory that our breed, my breed, we have this residue of emotional buildup, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. And we are primitive beings. Don't forget that. Don't forget that oftentimes we are denying ourselves our primitive impulses. And it's for the sake of what? A lot of times it's for the sake of the greater good. It's for the sake of collaboration, cooperation, civility, and whatnot. Cool. But if you are not, let's say, somebody who's into MMA, where, let's say, I'm not saying every single one of those fighters has some kind of deep-seated primitive impulse to be violent. Some of those guys they just happened upon it. And this is merely a sport to them. It's merely just an occupational hazard that they have to fight people, or get hit and all this stuff. And some of those people, they love violence, but they're not violent outside their lives as a fighter. And so what I'm saying is that they're pleasing that primitive impulse, right? A lot of us have the desire to smack somebody in the face, but we're not going to do it. Good. We should not be hitting people just to fucking hit people. A lot of us have the impulse to just say, fuck you. Good. We shouldn't be necessarily doing that in every instance of anger. But what I'm saying is that as a result of us not satisfying a bunch of our primitive needs and our primitive appetites, what happens? It builds up. It becomes this thing that somehow collects inside of you. It collects in you. Clearly. What I just did, that yell, I didn't want to do that. That wasn't me consciously needing to fucking scream at the top of my lungs. That was my body. That was something there that I don't know until what? Until I activated thoughtlessness, until I engaged in thoughtlessness, until I surrendered to what my body wanted, despite how weird and uncomfortable it may have seemed. I gave permission. This is moving. I didn't judge it. I didn't ridicule it. I just accepted it. And I let that yell come out. I let it happen. God, I feel so much better. Man, that felt great. You don't know you need it, man. That's one flaw of our nature, of our chemistry. We don't know we need these things until you sort of happen upon it, until you allow yourself to engage in it. I had a lot of jaw movement too. And there's a lot of frustration in my life. A lot of frustration. And it's all has to do with me. It's me. I have high demands for myself and high standards for myself. And I fail constantly. I am a failure through and through. But I'm going to continue to try. Oh, I need a vacuum again. Whatever moves, man, is connected from the fucking toes to your skull. It might be fascia, whatever the fuck. It might just be a sequence of events that happens to do that. I'm not suggesting anything spooky. I'm not suggesting anything paranormal. All I'm saying is that there's something going on. Oh, there's something going on. You think I wanted to do this? You think I wanted my hands to come here? Exactly what I'm saying about the positions. The body naturally comes there. It wants to get back into this place where your hands are like this. There's something to it. That's why I have my theory about someone or people. They had to access this in themselves, and other people witnessed it. And then they decided that these positions are appropriate. These positions are good. And I think they're good even if you're not experiencing what I'm experiencing. But I think that the ultimate goal should be to experience it in the most organic way possible. I feel nothing but fucking love right now, man. I feel nothing but fucking love. And guess what? It's temporary. Because you know what? I have ambitions, I have desires, and as a result of that, I'm going to have disappointments. I'm not so magnificently well adjusted where I can hold on to this permanently. I would be able to hold on to this permanently if I just said fuck everything. I could be just some kind of monkish kind of character. I could be. But I'm not willing to relinquish certain goals of mine. And there's the battle. To find that balance. To find the balance between your ambitions and peace. There's some that can be, I think, at peace with their ambitions because they're completely shameless. They're completely without a conscience. They don't give a fuck about anybody. And so they can move and navigate throughout that sphere very comfortably with very little stress. Unfortunately, quote unquote, I'm a person who cares deeply about those in my network and my social network. I care deeply about affecting people negatively, but I'm trying to become a bit more selfish in a sense. I'm trying to become more selfish in a positive way though. What I mean by that is I have standards. I believe that we should be nothing less than vulnerable and wholehearted towards each other and understanding, and not understanding for the sake, not understanding like I want to hurt people and you should understand that. No, I mean understanding where you have the objective of comprehending someone's behavior. If you know what strawmanning is when you construe someone's argument and you make it as weak as possible so that you can just swat it down when addressing that person's argument. Well, there's something called steelmanning. And that's what I want for all of us. I want us to steelman each other, even if we disagree. And steelmanning someone's argument is you construe it in the most accurate way possible. And just because you construe someone's argument and their position in a very accurate way does not mean you agree with them. I could construe a racist argument very accurately. I can say, because you perceive black people as X, Y, and Z, you therefore believe A, B, and C. And that racist could say, yeah, exactly. And then I will tell that racist why I disagree with their position. You don't need, if you really are on the right track with some kind of perspective, you don't need to construe people's beliefs in any kind of inaccurate way for the sake of winning. You can just speak to the facts of the matter, whether objective or their subjective fact, their subjective perceptions. I used to be very tolerant of people's ugliness for the sake of harmony. I used to be the bigger man for the sake of harmony. But at this point, I put myself at this moment where I'm at in life. I'm in this particular circumstance where I need all of the positive energy that I can get. And people's needless, illogical, irrational, negative energy, that negative energy being, as I said, irrationality, willful misunderstanding, self-absorption, indifference to their blindness, indifference to being emotionally blind, deaf, and dumb. I, unfortunately, am not strong enough to be bulletproof in the face of those people. I'm talking about people that are above the level of acquaintance. I can take a stranger's nonsense. I can take a random person's nonsense. Strangers, acquaintances, random people, whatever. I'm talking about people that I would say matter to me more than that. I can't do it because it doesn't make sense. And their desire for them to feel better about themselves, they need to convince you that you are the inferior one, that your perception is the inaccurate perception. I just can't do it because they are not operating, I think, from a place of truth. And it has to do with a lot of my frustration, a lot of my tightness. It's that balance, man. I could absolutely 100%. I have glimpsed the possibility in how people can live completely ostracized as a recluse. I've found that way of being. I've got a taste of it where you can just be completely okay without anybody, but I still have my dreams. I still have my aspirations that I don't want to let go of just yet. Just yet. Maybe one day, if I continue to fail, and if I fail, and it's it just seems to be completely unreasonable that I will succeed, fine. Maybe I will live in the most hermit, monkish way possible. Maybe then. But not yet. I believe I still have some fight within me, because I do believe in fighting as well. I am not a pacifist by any means. And I'm not talking about violent fighting. I mean fighting this world. Fighting the ugliness. Being an example. I believe that people can be better. Because I look back on my own stupidity, my own ugliness. I look at my own current stupidity, my own current ugliness. We can transcend. I do believe in the spiritual. I just believe people have the wrong idea about all these words. Spiritual, love, health. It's not elaborately, thoroughly defined. And they're allowing other people to decide what those words mean. I truly feel love and appreciation at this moment. I feel a great, significant relief in my body, especially on my right side, where a lot of the tension develops. Well, I love you all, and I'm going to lose again. I'm going to lose this peace. I'm going to lose this stability, but as I said, keep up that fucking fight, man. I want to continue to fight until I can't anymore. And if I can't anymore, then I'll be honest about that. And I'll try to live my life in complete solitude. I will disconnect from posting these videos. I'll disconnect from everything. But until then, until that unlikely scenario, I'm going to keep fucking doing my thing. I'm going to continue to strive and experiment and navigate this particular spiritual space. And I'm going to continue to share it. Because for years now, for several years, I professed and I do believe that sharing for sharing's sake, especially when it's something that can benefit others or inspire others, please do it. Share it. Share it. All right. Peace out.